Hey, welcome to Impress the Boss. I'm Catherine.
I'm Laurel.
And I'm Valerie.
And we're here to help you stand out without working overtime. This week, we're back looking at Bob Dean. If you want to know more about Bob Dean, you can check out episode 3. And if you're not quite sure who these Bob characters are, you can learn more about our workplace personalities in episode 17. So today, we'll review about who Bob Dean is. We'll get to meet an expert in the workplace who identifies with Bob Dean and have some takeaways that we can think about how to either manage being a Bob Dean if you're a Bob Dean, or about how to best work with Bob Deans as well. So if we recall, Bob Dean is this play on James Dean. It's the rebel without a cause. You know, he has a lot of that bad boy in him.
A little bit of that challenger.
A little bit of that challenger personality. But that charisma too. So Bob Deans typically don't want to, work 9 to 5. They buck the, traditional workforce environment, but they also tend to be very innovative and entrepreneurial, have an opinion, have something to say, and really can contribute in a leadership way to many organizations. And so Bob Dean, while he struggles between this kind of rebel without a cause and trying to conform to what the workplace encounters with him, I think there's positives and negatives in that journey. And we'll hear a little bit more about that today through our expert. And who are we speaking with today? We all really love our expert today.
We love our expert today. Our guest today is Coach Bill Hart. So Coach Bill Hart has been an executive coach with Building Champions for over 17 years, and he coaches some of the most successful real estate agents and mortgage brokers in the entire country, like the top performers for sure.
So if that's you and you're looking for a coach,
yeah, exactly.
Coach Bill Hart.
Sure. Yes. Bill also has his own podcast called All In with Coach Bill Hart, so you can check that out. And he also has a relatively recent book, White Collar Warrior, that focuses on sales strategy for sales professionals. He, on the social media side of the world, not too long ago, he posted a video about an encounter that he had in a restaurant and called Shoulder Taps, and it went viral with over 1.5 million views. So if you haven't Googled Shoulder Taps, you should watch that. Bill is also a very faithful advocate of our military. He never served himself, but has a very strong support mentality of the military. He's also a family man and loves his family and speaks often on social media, or shows often his love for his beautiful wife, Tony. So we are very excited to have Bill Hart as our guest with us today. So welcome to Impress the Boss. Bill, thank you so much for being with us today.
So my pleasure, Coach. Thanks for having me.
We are delighted to have you as Bob Dean and in your leather jacket nonetheless.
It seemed somehow appropriate.
I love it. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So just going to run through a couple questions about Bob Dean and your experience as a Bob Dean. And so first one would just be, when you think about being a Bob Dean, what is it that is the number one kind of pitfall or thing that other Bob Deans should avoid in the workplace?
Pause before talking. Yeah, let me give you a little more on that. I think that, and some of this has just come with maturity, right? So I say this at 64, but if you're listening to this and you're 24 or 34 or 44, like, learn from my pain. And what I mean by that is I think because your mind works quickly and you're assertive and you're convinced that you're right or have a point or whatever, and you may well be right, discretion is the better part of valor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what I've learned with maturity is, and Daniel Harkavy does this really well, the founder of our company. He will bite his tongue and he will listen and he will process. And then when he speaks, it's more meaningful. And so that would be the thing. I just think it's very easy for me to just, like, popcorn. You remember Jiffy Pop, the way it just kind of pop, 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 pop. If I let my mouth go with my mind that quickly, I'll end up having regrets because I've inadvertently stepped on people that I didn't mean to.
That's right. Yeah. So good. I love that. Perfect. That's a great thing to avoid for Bob Deans. So, on the opposite side of that, tell me what you believe is the biggest strength of Bob Deans that other Bob Deans in the workplace should lean into.
Yeah, I believe that the positive side of this style is that we have the opportunity to inspire others, and I think sometimes your conviction is something that someone else can borrow and kind of feather into, right? Like, yes, I see what you see, and so I just think a little bit of inspiration sometimes can follow. Now, I will tell you, I have not always been inspirationally accurate, right? So you can be fired up and inspirational about something that later turns out to have been the wrong choice.
Right.
But what you and I both know about leadership is you just got to swing the bat, right? And so my philosophy is swing for the fence every time. I'm not going for singles. I'm swinging for the fence every time.
Yep. I love it. That's perfect. Good. Thank you. So last one would be, what is your number one tip that you would give to other Bob Deans in the workplace?
Yeah, I think it's what I've learned through coaching, Laurel, and I know you've learned the same thing, but I believe it's the ability to trust your instincts. That I often tell clients that I'll ask them how tall they are. So how tall are you, Laurel?
5'5".
Okay. So I'd say I see an outline around you that you're like 5'8". And what I mean by that is I want you to step into that shape. Don't play small. And so that's what I would say to the Bob Deans that are listening to this and can relate to this is don't play small. Be cautious, right? That you don't step on others.
Yeah.
But don't bite your tongue too often. Be a little bit bold, step into what you see and feel, trust your instincts. I think that's the best advice I would give to someone of this particular style.
That is so good. Yeah, I love that. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
really super helpful
pleasure.
Tips from our Bob Dean and his leather jacket. So
right? That's right. Be a rebel with a cause.
There you go.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. Good. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Bill. We really appreciate you joining us and being with us. Yeah.
High five to all those Bob Deans out there. You know who you are.
That's right.
Wow, that was incredible. The rebel without a cause. I just love seeing...
The rebel with a cause.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Thank you. I spoke and I did exactly what he said not to do. I did not pause. See, I actually got you on that. I'm just kidding. I love the fact that Bill came dressed up in character with that leather jacket. It was sharp.
That.
Yes, way to go, Bill. I appreciate one of the takeaways from this interview, and I like to kind of bring it together where Bill pointed out that we need to be bold, and at the same time, we also need to play big, and rather than play small. And so I like that as a takeaway as a Bob Dean. They are that rebel, and at the same time, though, their personality is bold, and we need that in the workforce. We need people to be able to stand up for what they believe and be able to push the envelope a little. And I appreciate that with the character of a Bob Dean. And I think the action step 2 that I take away from this interview is just if you're a Bob Dean, take some time to do as what Bob Hart encourages us to do. Bill Hart encourages us to do, and that is to pause. Take some time to pause before you speak. Maybe I'm a Bob Dean, don't know it. Maybe I should do that. No. And to just take the time to be yourself again and to continue to be bold, but at the same time, know that you're out to play. If you have that bold personality, I also think that you're also out to make big things and to play big and not to play small.
Yeah. I think that's a very important point that relates to anyone listening to the podcast, that sometimes there's opportunities before us that we're not necessarily ready for, that we're not necessarily skilled to do, that we're not the most best person to do this one thing. And the lesson from Bob today, I'm calling him Bob. Bill today.
We're embodying him.
We're embodying him.
Embodying our Bob.
He is. The lesson from Bill today is to step into those things and have confidence moving forward. Because if you don't, someone else will.
Yeah, right.
And it's not that other person might be more qualified. It's just that they're playing big.
Yeah.
Right. And I think if you read Bill Hart's book, he catches that personality comes out. I mean, it emphasizes on cells, and he takes some metaphors from the military. But when we think of a military person, or I think of somebody in the military, I think of somebody who is bold and able to grab a hold of something and not be afraid of doing it.
Yeah.
So this week, we'd love to hear about how you're being bold and you're playing big at work. Share your story using #ImpressTheBoss. Also, don't forget to follow Coach Bill Hart on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. He's got a great feed, lots of inspiration. It's Coach Bill Hart. Also, his book. We all each individually own a hard copy of it. I'm in sales, so I've got a hard copy on my desk at work. Definitely something that you want to check out if you want to learn how to be a warrior at work.
You can also subscribe to his podcast.
Thank you.
All In. Yeah, All In with Coach Bill Hart, his podcast.
Yes. All In with Coach Bill Hart, and look forward to hearing your story. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us on social for your daily standout tips, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and don't forget to use the #ImpressTheBoss and share your journey with us. And until next time, Bob's out.